Got Sandeep Shankar here. He's the Data Governance and Enablement Manager at iSelect. I really appreciate you doing this another video with me, Sandeep. So what I thought the real good purpose of today is that as we are seeing people start to go back to the office, we are still seeing a lot of people join remotely. We've had people internally start remotely. I know you've also started remotely as well. And I think we're going to keep seeing that next year. So I thought it'd be really good to dig into your experience, find out what you thought was well, what you thought maybe you could do better, and how you'd implement it with your own team as well. So I've got about 5 or 6 questions I'm keen to throw at you. So just let me know when you're ready for me to start firing away.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, James. Thanks again. The last discussion we had was pretty good. And this discussion, thanks for giving me an opportunity to come over. And yeah, the remote working and onboarding is a thing that's, that's commonplace nowadays. So it will be good to discuss. Thank you, mate. Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I love doing the videos with you. So I guess easiest one to kind of start off with, I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing because they can compare their own experiences. With your new role at iSelect, what has been your experience starting a new job remotely?
Yeah, so not only this role, so just if I tell you, it's my last 2 roles have both started remotely. So I started in March 2020 at Flybys, which was the day I left my previous job was the first day of lockdown in Melbourne. So it's been the last 2 jobs. It's been a very positive experience. So let's talk about this one, right? When I joined in at iSelect. So it's been so it can be a different experience starting remotely. And it depends also on, I never thought it will be very easy for me, and it depends on person to person. I would have thought with my personality, I like to talk to people, I like to meet people, I like a day in office where you can have a good coffee chat, have whiteboard meetings. But then surprisingly, it's been pretty smooth going. And in terms of iSelect, starting with it, I think what's gone really positively is the technology part. So technology part is a tricky one, right? Technology part, you can make it as easy as you like, and you can make it as difficult as you like. So for me, one big thing was technology part is we work in technology, we work in data. So the big thing was the laptop. So the laptop, the technical equipments, and you need to obviously connect to a lot of company software because you're working from a remote location. Everything was ready for me, posted for me about 2-3 days in advance of my joining date at iSelect. So it was a weekend, and I think I got it about Wednesday or Thursday. So I had 2 days to read through what are the instructions to get into the system. How do you use the computer? I had a couple of questions which I emailed, and everything was sorted before I started. So that's always a positive start. And another positive thing was when I logged into the computer, there was a chat with my manager on the first day itself. And we had a very good discussion in which it was more around, you talk KPIs and success factors and stuff. He was clearly elicited to me what he wants to achieve out of this, out of the position that I'm starting. So that was very clear. And lastly, I was starting leading. The role is called governance and enablement. I was heading up the data platform at iSelect, and it required a lot of collaboration with different areas of business. So I was added to all the right teams channels, all the distribution list, who are going to be my key stakeholders. Everything was available when I logged in, and I could read a bit of history also of what went around in my stream. So those things were really positive. So technology as well as introduction to the business ways of working. So yeah, those were some of the positives, James, I think.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds really good. I think I was going to ask you what you think was done well. It sounds like you touched on a lot of it there, especially with the laptop and having everything set up beforehand so you could come into day one. Was there anything that, after going through that experience, you would improve?
Well, I think it'll be common with a lot of organization and a lot of people that we think you were trying to run a team, you were trying to build your success factors, your own structures. But in the side, I was also trying to learn the business. So one thing that could have been done better is if I had you do the normal inductions where you do building inductions and the mandatory trainings. Yeah. If there was a sort of induction where somebody introduced to everyone the business that the company was doing. No, this is our business. This is ABC of what we do. This is what we get. This is what we achieve. I got to it within 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But if there was a session where somebody who's really a business person could do these inductions, it's just a nice to have.
Yeah.
I won't see a miss, but then if every company could add that into their induction, that's something that I think will be a value add. Like sometimes we just think that we're working in technology areas or data areas, but then whatever you do is to run the business efficiently. So if there's a clear understanding of that one on the first day, I think that's probably, it happened, but it happened slowly for me. And I think it's not a real negative, but I would say if possible, that could be done very early in the piece.
Yeah, cool. Definitely an idea that could be brought forward. I do agree with that. I think it helps you just get your head around the business a lot quicker and like has a bit of that rapid kind of knowledge share.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that kind of would lead on to the next question as well. You know, seeing as you've gone through it twice now, especially like with people, you know, new starters in your team, or even people who are going to spend majority of their time working remotely, what will you be implementing for them?
It's a very good question, as because everyone who joins nowadays is a new starter who works remotely, right? At least works remotely for some part of their working period.
Yeah.
So first thing, what I would say is we start off with kind of if someone is joining my team, I would start off by sending them an introductory email even before they've joined, so that if someone gets into the company, if they say an email from the person responsible saying how much I appreciate you joining this team, how much I value your skills, that's already a great first day for them saying, yep, the team wants me here and I can achieve what I've come here for.
Yeah.
And they're obviously a new person starting is going to be working in a wider team. And the wider team engagement is really important in this remote climate because you don't talk to people, you don't sit next to a person on a desk. So if in some cases, what we think is whenever the work comes in, you say you connect with this person or that person. But if there's a team that you're going to be working towards day to day, I would set up catch-ups with the team in the new person's calendar so that they can start getting acquainted straight away, even though there's no work discipline going on in the first day itself. So that's another thing. And one thing I've started personally after joining my new organization is anyone new comes in, we introduce them as, he's a data expert or he's a technology expert or he's a visualization expert or whatnot. But then we have a get to know a person skill session where I'm not talking anything work. I just get to know something about you and I know you as a person, James. So what if I was putting something about you, I would have a section on there saying something about your fancy cars. So something like that, something where you get to know a person. It acts as an icebreaker and gets them into the job on a very non-personal front.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of helping to.
That I think that helps I break the ice a bit and also get a person into a relaxed mode.
Yeah.
And one last thing is again, I have quite a few wish lists, right? Everybody would have. One last thing is, and I'm trying to implement that in the current organization is I would like to have their technology structures. So your laptops, your accesses and everything built according to the job profiles. So, for example, a data engineer needs this, and this to be successful. A data governance person needs this, and this. A technology person needs something else. If we have the technical equipments packaged according to the job you're doing, for example, if you're doing a recruitment job, you may not need access to most of the technical databases or stuff. If you could have technical things packaged as much as they can to get them started on the first day, it saves a lot of time and effort to go through IT tickets. And if I can call the word, sometimes people get frustrated and gets focus away. So that will make that onboarding a bit smoother as well. So those are some of the points I think. And last one is an absolute wish list, but I think the industry is going in that way. We have technology catered to the person.
Yeah, no, that sounds. I think that would be a really good idea. I think I even know when we've had new starters at our company, like depending on what they need access to or where they can find stuff, if you have it all packaged up quite nicely, it just takes a bit of that stress away. I remember when I started and it was in person, you still found it a bit frustrating, let alone I can imagine being at home, you're trying to look for something, you can't just go to someone and ask, you have to ping them a message and see if they reply in time. So I can imagine that. I think that's a really good idea, and I'd be interested to see maybe in the next 12 months I'll touch base and see how far you get with that at iSelect.
I'm definitely going to give it a proper go, and yeah, let's see. I'll definitely share some stories along the way.
Perfect. Well, I've got two final questions, which I think both come from different viewpoints that you can answer for both. I think the first one is, for anyone who's looking to start a new role, like putting yourself, back in the shoes when you were looking for and got the role at iSelect, what advice would you give them when they're starting that new role remotely?
Okay, let's start with the journey of starting a new role, right? So let's start with why you're looking for a new role. First thing I would say is you need to get into a new role and start celebrating that you're in this new role. So in any job, there are quite a few success factors. So it's a very hypothetical term. It's thrown around very easy, but for me, the single success factor of being happy in the job, there's a lot of factors, monetary benefits or work from homes or work culture, etc. But it's that you get up in the morning and you want to go to work every day. The definition has changed. You get up in the morning and you want to log into your computer every day. So that's first thing you need to do. And why you're looking for a new job, and this is my personal personal experience, which I want to share in this, right? When you're looking for a new job and you're in recruitment, you know this better, right? There's a flood in the data market at the moment. There's engineers are in demand. There's every data role, there is some kind of demand there. But when I was looking for a new role, and it's an advice for anyone from me who's looking for a new role, it should not be because you are tempted by the market or you want to, make something out of the good times that's going on. The new role should have something in it for you. For me personally, when I thought this new role aligned with my career ambitions and stuff, I was doing my previous role was leading a governance department. I wanted to grow across the spectrum of data, engineering, architecture, governance, and data reporting. So there should be something in it for you. It could be some people want to grow vertically, and there are some people who wanted to grow technically. But every new role, don't just try it for the sake of trying it. It's just that there should be a reason for you to go and switch a job. And the reason, if you switch, one thing I keep hearing is, are you unhappy with your current role? It doesn't need to be. I was not unhappy with what I was doing before this. It's just that I wanted to do something different. And I had a stage where I think I had, if you leave an organization, little better state to where you have joined it, that's success, and you can probably try for the next one. So you don't need to be unhappy with the current one. And there are some of the factors. It's not really remotely joining. It's just anyone starting a new role. And for remote joining, another tip for me is you don't speak to people daily. A big tip which I used is create a 30, 60 and 90-day plan. So, have a target for your first month, second month and third month. How it helps is you show your capability in those three targets and you earn a reputation. So, delivering and technical skills and people skills and all are important. But then a reputation is something that you absolutely need to earn in any job. And for me, I say reputation is like your bank credit. So reputation, you get your reputation by showing accountability, credibility, and everybody has tough times and easy times. So, that reputation that you earned in your first 3 months by showing credibility is what you use in your tough times. So use your reputations. And big one and I experienced this as well with the remote thing, the learning curve is bigger. So, you learn the business, you learn the people, you don't meet them day to day. The learning curve is bigger. It's very easy to get frustrated by it, but always keep in the back of your mind that the learning curve is not only for yourself. Everybody who starts in this role has a learning curve. Sometimes it's a bit steep, but just keep plugging away at it. And once the learning curve is over, you will have a lot of time to address some of the frustrations that may have creeped in. So the learning curve, always acknowledge.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's some really good advice, especially for about hitting when you're moving for that job and why you should be actually looking outside and why you want to go for it. And I really like that phrase, I'm excited to log on to my computer now. I'm probably going to steal that from you and use it. I think the last question I've got for you, I think you did touch on earlier as well. Although for other managers out there and other people like yourself building up teams, what advice would you give them for new team members that they're getting to start remotely to make sure they'll be successful in the new role?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So hiring process has changed quite a bit and needs to change quite a bit because for me, if I see a person face to face, the body language speaks quite a bit. The camera does not talk as effectively for you. So for me as a hiring manager, what I have tried to do during the COVID period, whenever we are hiring and remote period, make the hiring process quick. First thing is make the hiring process pretty quick. Don't go through rounds of feedbacks and a week to turn it back. Make it as smooth as we can because we instantly reply to people's messages for something, right? So the feedback to an interview does not need to be very different. You go into a chat, At the end of it, whoever is in your panel, reserve 10 minutes for all you guys to get together and say, what do you think, guys? And you're talking on camera. Even we are now talking on camera. Sometimes for a new person, it may be a bit overwhelming. So I've tried to, make the first 10 minutes a bit smoother and a bit lighter so that a person can, slowly draft into the interview and it can bring out the best. And one tip, not only for remote, how I hire is hire for the attitude and the hunger. The technical skills are an important thing, but then hire for the attitude and hunger. The technical skills sometimes can follow. Those are some of the things. The last one is not an onboarding tip, but it's something that I've realized, going into jobs as well as hiring people. Probably the most hugely technical person is not the best person who's worked for me. So that's
it all. That's very good. I really appreciate your insights, especially for all the questions. I think it's quite
maybe another thing just to end it was on the remote part, right? The trust and delegation becomes really important. That if you've hired someone, if I've hired someone, I would trust them to get the job done, be it any time of the day. So, you've got multiple team members. I've got a big team now. So if for example, we're starting new kind of New Year routines around remote work and how we come back to the office and stuff. And there are different people with different views. Some people want to work from home. Some people like coming to the office, and some people want to spend a couple of hours with their kid now, but log in after 6 o'clock. So trust them to get it done. When you start trusting them and putting responsibility without, too much scrutiny, I think they start fostering a relationship with you as well as enhancing their skills. Micromanagement. So in very simple terms, micromanagement is something which I personally don't like. And second thing, which can creep in very easily, but which can be very easily avoided as well.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's a really big point. I know us at Precision, our leadership's taken on that trust approach about, everyone's got KPIs, everyone's got goals you got to hit. But if you trust people to do their work, they'll do it. And if people aren't performing, you can pick that out quite quickly. I think that's a really good point to touch on. And I think we'll probably leave it on that one and wrap it up with that. And I just want to thank you again for your time and sharing your experiences. I'm sure they're going to help a lot of people.
Thanks a lot, James. Thanks again for the opportunity.